has the best sports fans in the world. That's why they deserve the best sports coverage in the world. We are the Woodward Sports Network.
2, 1.
What's up, fantasy degenerates? Welcome in to the very first episode of the Fantasy Jerks here on Woodward Sports. My name is Anson Wells, and it is my absolute pleasure to introduce you to a pure fantasy menace, a very long-time friend of mine, Mr. Brandon Kaz. How are you, buddy?
It's the most wonderful time of the year. It's great to be here, Anson.
Get that mic closer to you, buddy. There we go. Right up to that mouth. There we go. We're going to get a little wild in here. We're teaching and we're learning and we're teaching you guys a whole lot. It needs to be a lot closer right up in your mouth, buddy. Please. There we go. All right. So, guys, this is our very first episode, and we are going to be plotting a path for the next 2 weeks to the start of the season. But you guys have drafts that you guys need to crush, and we're going to help you do that so that you can win your fantasy championships. But we've got some help for you. We've enlisted the top-notch fantasy analysts of fantasypoints.com. These are the guys that helped find Benedict Johnson for the Chicago Bears, one of the premier analytic companies. They'll be providing us with a fantasy analyst each and every week that'll be live on the show. Today, a little bit later on, we have got Theo Greminger, their lead analyst over there. It's going to be absolutely fantastic. The other thing, guys, is we got a Woodward Fantasy League that we are creating for this show. And at the end of the show, we will the beginning of next week's show, we will be selecting those members in our league. But what we need you guys to do, if you want to join, I need you guys to email me at Anson@Woodward Sports. But you got to be serious, guys. Please let me know that you're serious. We'll get you in, and then on Wednesday of next week, episode 2, we'll pull a couple of names out of the hat. We'll be choosing 3, and then 3 the following week. I've got amazing prize packages put together for you, but let's try this again, my friend. Get up on that mic, nice and close. So Brandon and I go way back. We went to Michigan State together. We used to live together back in 2005 when we were managing a band, one of the guys that lived with us. Shout out to the boys in the blue Focus. You know who you are. But, brother, this is something we've been talking about for 20 years, doing a show like this.
Yeah, just about. I was thinking about earlier when we first did our first fantasy league together in the basement of St. Clair Shores.
Oh, I forgot.
The Chili Mac Yahoo League. Sandbox, Javon Hollywood, Stick, and RT Sports.
Oh, yeah. Shout out to Javon Hollywood. Rest in peace. And, hey, Dante151, a legend in the chat, hitting us with an early super chat from Andrew Peters via Bleacher Report. Cowboys head coach predicts Micah Parsons, week 1 status. I feel good. He'll play versus the Eagles. Hey, next week, Dante, we'll be talking about IDP, individual defensive players. Shout out to everybody in there. Easy in the house. John Effing, Lord, Neil Mack. Biggins in the house. My man, what's good, Biggins? But listen, guys, fantasypoints.com. If you want to get a membership to the premier analytics site, I got to be honest with you, Brandon. I've been looking for a site like this forever, and I'm going to let you tell them about it because you took a big deep dive in this last week, and I know you're in love.
Yeah, imagine Pro Football Focus, but actually, like, you can dive into visible statistics, and they're user-friendly, completely filterable. I'm really excited about this partnership. You know, we got some real legends in the game here. The fantasy guru, John Hansen, Scott Barrett, Graham Barfield, Theo Greminger, some of the best analyst processes and data sets in the business. Tons of articles, in-depth research, live data, true football intelligence. It's an all-in-one toolbox for fantasy football. Check out their Draft Central plays. Graham Barfield's tiered 150. The guru, John Hansen's draft plan, which is fantastic. Scott Barrett's draft guide, custom cheat sheets, and more. Fantasypoints.com.
They're amazing. You said it best. This isn't a website. It's an absolute toolbox of all the you tools need to win your championship. So Not only are we hooking you up with the discount, if you go in there and you put in Woodward when you check out, you're going to get 10% off a subscription. Oh, we're going to be giving out a free membership each and every show. Whoever leads in the Super Chat today, you're getting it. Dante, you're off to an awesome start. We will have a question and answer segment with Theo as well as with the Fantasy Jerks. So save your questions for then. Get your Super Chats ready, because if you Super Chat it, we promise that we will read it. So let's get started. First and foremost, what you guys need to know are the changes around the NFL. And we've seen a lot of them. In fact, here in Detroit, our offensive coordinator, we call him Benedict Johnson. We call him Osama Ben Johnson. This son of a bitch left us for Chicago. And he is a Bear. And we'll be talking about that change as well as quite a few others. But we're going to lock it down to the top 5. And Brandon, we're going to Vegas first.
Yeah, you can't help pretty excited about this, right? You bring in Gino and Pete Carroll. Pete Carroll is very charismatic, tons of experience, does a fantastic job motivating players, and his number one is the players absolutely love him. Brock Bowers is an absolute stud, smashing Ditka records in his first year, a real chance at being like a top probably somebody you should be thinking about drafting in the first round in a tight end premium, or at least in a PPR, because he's going to be such a difference maker.
Are you saying that there's going to be 2 Raiders drafted in the first round of fantasy drafts?
You know what? With the pace at which Barry 2.0, Ashton Jeanty is moving up into his ADP continues to climb, I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, depending on where you're picking, it's definitely something you should be considering.
Now, what do you think about Chip Kelly and what these guys are going to do? Because the offensive coordinator that they had last year, the ball was just going to Brock Bowers left and right. My concern with this situation is one Mr. Michael Mayer, a fantastic tight end that was drafted 2 years ago. Really didn't see him. He's an afterthought in the offense last year. What we've seen in the preseason thus far is kind of equal distribution of snaps. I'm wondering, is Chip Kelly going to lighten the load on Brock Bowers? And if so, is he still a first-round draft pick for you?
I mean, Brock Bowers checks in at 6'4", 245. And when you look at him on the field, he looks like he's closer to 239, 245. It enables him to be completely quick. The truth is, Mayer is a giant, and you want that guy in there taking the hits, delivering the hits, supporting that run game.
Brock Wright action?
Yeah, exactly. And, otherwise, the organization should have interest in using Mayer. I mean, he's a heck of a talent. It's in the best interest of that offense to run some two tight end sets, freeing up Jacoby Myers, who should be a target in most fantasy leagues this year. I like the Raiders as a source of fantasy points. And with a real chance to win some games this year, I could see some teams falling off in the AFC West this year.
Yeah, a lot of these teams in the NFL are making the transition to having an inline tight end, and we've seen it in Chicago. We've seen it here in Detroit. I love the Raiders right now. I love Ashton Jeanty. I love Brock Bowers. And I think Geno Smith might even be a sleeper guy that you can get at the end of your drafts. He's got a hell of a lot of weapons. Let's move on to number 2. We talked about it, Chicago, Osama Ben Johnson. We've been talking about it ad nauseum here in Detroit. The Bears, Chicago Bears, and one catfish, Caleb Williams. You see him up there. You guys know how I feel about this guy. He's a loser. I don't know why anybody thought this was the best quarterback in the class last year. I've told everybody that would listen, Brandon, it's all about Jaden Daniels. There's another guy in that draft that we didn't get a chance to see. Guy that's near and dear to a lot of people here in Detroit, one J.J. McCarthy. But out of 6 quarterbacks, Bo Nix, Drake May, Michael Penix, all of those, I believe that Caleb Williams is the worst of the bunch. And I think that the marriage between him and Ben Johnson, a guy that relies on timing patterns and getting the ball out quickly, I think this is the worst marriage possible.
Yeah, if there's anybody that can't get the ball out quickly, it's Will Levis in number 2. is Caleb Williams. It's absolutely terrible to watch him. It's painstaking to watch. I am so disappointed. Shout out to my former work league, where last year I was duped so hard by Liev Schreiber on Hard Knocks, and I was all in on Caleb. And I made my draft plan change at the very last minute and took Caleb Williams over. And I'm still kicking myself.
Mr. Jaden Daniels?
Mr. Jaden Daniels. Yeah, that was ill-advised.
I took Jaden in my 8th round of my keeper league last year. Get to keep him in the 5th this year. I am pretty psyched about that. Obviously, there's some other changes there. Keenan Allen is gone. Enter Luther Burden. But as we just mentioned, a lot of these teams love 2 tight ends. They've added Colston Loveland. I think you and I are on the same page with this guy, Loser.
Yeah, I mean, aside from both the jerseys that he's worn, there seems to be an issue with Loveland, and it's that he's probably not going to be a good football player. Maybe I'm wrong about this, but when Warren is sitting on the board and you got Cole Kmet on your team already, who is a really fantastic talent, you just gave him a contract. Look, here's the bottom line. Ben Johnson needs weapons to succeed. The Detroit Lions, and to steal something from a good friend, we spent a lot of resources as Detroit Lions to ensure that Ben Johnson had success. So he could use Mr. Campbell's system from, Mr. Sean Payton through this chain right now. We haven't seen, Colston looked okay in the preseason, but the bottom line is, can he get the ball out in time? They have done nothing to address that offensive line. Yeah. It's an absolute disaster. Caleb's going to be running for his life. I mean, I think it's going to be Tyson Badgett time within 8 games.
Hey, they just re-signed him to an extension today. I've said many times I felt that they were a 10-win team last year if Tyson Badgett was under center. For me, I'm fading all of the wide receivers. Caleb could have a good year. I'm not saying that's out of the question. But the fact is, we saw DJ Moore drafted too highly last year. There was too much competition for targets. Now you swap out an older Keenan Allen for a younger Luther Burden. You add in another tight end. I don't know where the ball is going to go for sure, and I just don't see any of these guys returning what you're valuing them, where you're spending your capital at. I think it's a fool's gold over there in Chicago. So I'm staying away. I know my partner here is staying away, but I want to head on over to Steeltown, to Pittsburgh, because we know one of our very old, good, dear friends from the NFC North, one Aaron Rodgers, is now in Pittsburgh. I'm not really sure how this one's going to work out, but they obviously added Robert Woods, a guy that you and I were high on coming out of college, had a good, solid career, not spectacular. But DK Metcalf, who is an absolute menace, being paired up with Aaron Rodgers, well, it's intriguing to me. Where are you at on this?
So I was having some deep conversations on this, and it hurts my heart for Aaron Rodgers to be successful. Because for years as a Lions fan, he got all the press and pub, and deservedly so, in the NFC North. However, that being said, I feel like he's got a chip on his shoulder. That situation in New York was absolutely terrible. I mean, if there's one thing that comes out of this, it's that I would be targeting DK Metcalf this year.
Yeah.
If there's anybody that has the talent and the quarterback to get him in the top 5 receivers and potentially higher, I mean, at his ADP currently, it's a screaming value to me just because of the upside, Anson.
I'm intrigued, man. You talked about the situation in New York. We've heard it from Braylon. The Jets are not a good franchise right now. With AG in tow, I think that things will turn around and they'll start getting better. But when you take a guy like Aaron Rodgers from a bad situation and you put him into one of the best franchises in NFL history, it's going to be hard for him not to thrive, especially when he's got a guy like DK Metcalf to throw the ball to. I'm not drafting Aaron Rodgers, but DK Metcalf will be on a lot of my fantasy teams.
No, right, exactly. I mean, he's a shell of himself. Obviously, he's almost my age running around back there, right? But, I mean, I honestly believe that he's taking care of his body. And, dude's got an arm.
And he's got that ayahuasca, man.
Yeah,
he's tapping into that spirit realm.
Yeah, he sure is. And the offensive line, I mean, and the team has a solid defense. I wouldn't be surprised. It's a hard division, obviously. But, I wouldn't be surprised if they were a wild card team this year.
All right, well, a team that I'm surprised I even have on this list because I have been staying away from them for years. Anybody on this team, and that is the New England Patriots. So, interesting situation over there. You see one of their own come back to the team as coach. And,
Two?
Yeah, tell us more.
I'm all in.
But get close to that damn microphone.
I'm sorry, Anson.
Deep throat that son of a bitch.
Oh, wow.
Unique New York. The priestess wears purple pantalones. Here's the thing. Last year, love Drake May. He reminds me a bit of just a slightly smaller Josh Allen. My boy Steph Diggs. I know some people don't like Steph Diggs, but I mean, this guy's won me 5 championships in a dynasty league. I drafted him in the inaugural league. Big
out
fan.
Of Maryland.
Coming out of Maryland, 5th rounder.
Got
Guy
fifth
completely
round,
spider,
eh?
chip on his shoulder. Him and the Thielen Express for years. Eating our lunch and playing against the Minnesota. It's really exciting for me to see Drake. I potentially, this is a guy that could be in the top 6. You're getting him at quarterback 12 in ADP right now. Could easily end up as a top, 0.5 quarterback. Somebody that you should be targeting. And then the alternate targets I really love. There's some real values there to pick up around.
Stephon Diggs scares the shit out of me. I know you're a fan. Our buddy DPO is a huge fan, but this guy seems like he might be the new Deontay Johnson. Seems like he's wearing out his welcome wherever he goes. Is this going to last through a whole year? Is Peace going to lead to a draftable stat set at the end of the season? Because for me, he's a no draft. I'm staying away from him. He's off my board.
Yeah. Well, I think he was on a hell of a tear last year before the tear. And, wear out the welcome or not, he was on a short contract with Houston. And, he's a performer. And I think that, until you Antonio Brown yourself out of the league, you have a chance to make it up for yourself, right? All reports from camp have been positive with him. I mean, he showed up. He's playing. He's saying and doing all the right things for now. So we'll see. But I think that's all baked into his price right now.
This new coaching change, is it going to provide actual offense, like draftable offense? Because outside of maybe Ramondre Stevenson for a half season at a time, there's just nobody that's been worth drafting on New England since Randy Moss and Tom Brady left.
Yeah, and he's not in our rookie report, but I do plan on doing a little bit of an extended session.
Now, see, that's the guy that really has me intrigued. I loved Travion Henderson. Obviously, you worry about Ramondre Stevenson taking snaps from him. Seems like he's the starter right now. But what we've seen out of Travion this preseason, the guy looks absolutely electric.
Yeah, unstoppable. That's kind of the bottom line right now. I'm not surprised. I mean, he's been exceptional at in the Big Ten and up until this point, and he's just showing a lot of teams that passed on him that they made a big mistake.
Now, you talked me out of Quinshon Judkins.
I did.
This summer.
Yeah.
I was a fan. I liked the way he looked, but you're an analytics guy. You're a numbers guy. What was the difference between those two that you saw coming from the same school?
They ran the same offense, played in the same backfield. Quinshon Judkins averaged a full 1.2 yards less per carry than that. And yards per carry is one of the clearest indicators of running back success, opportunity, yards per carry in college. And then, obviously a coach willing to put him in. But I stay away from the low yards per carry guys.
They're all Buckeyes. They all suck.
That's you're right.
They do. We got some people in the chat here. What up, BK? Shout out from your old work league, Lifer 5454. I'm not sure who that is. You're gonna have to do some digging to find that out. And Damon Dice said Woodward hired Commissioner Gordon onto the staff. There he is. That one's great.
Yeah,
that one's
good.
great. That one's great. Keep those coming in, guys.
I'll take that.
Yeah, the young one though. Of course, right when he met Batman. So listen, guys, make sure you keep those chats coming in. Super chats will skip to the front of the line. We will also be grabbing some of your questions and asking Theo as he comes on, our fantasy expert for today. Of course, that's Theo Greminger, the head analyst over at fantasypoints.com. Woodwardcold.com. And then right afterwards, Brandon and I will take some more questions from you guys, so get those queued up. Real quick, I do want to talk about the Vikings. We mentioned them a little bit. They made my list because I believe that J.J. McCarthy is one of the premier young backs. It's about to just explode over this league. Pause. And what he has over there is plenty of weapons. He's got a great defense. He's got a hell of a coach. And what I saw out of him in that preseason game, and I know it was preseason, but that guy had a terrible first quarter. He got better in the second quarter and dominated in the third. And it kind of felt like his college career. A guy that wasn't supposed to be good. They tried to force him in. They get rid of another guy. Oh, this guy can't do it. And the next thing you know, he leaves 8-2 with a damn national championship.
Yeah, that's right.
Damn straight.
It's pretty wild to think that last year in the preseason, with this great class that we had, that this guy was the outright, looked like the best rookie available. And I know, or the best rookie in that draft class. You know, he's got the size. He's got the legs. He's got a pretty darn decent arm. He's got the chi.
Yes, he does.
And, he's
big
got the
wins.
weapons.
Yes, that's
and
the
the
deal.
offensive line. I mean, they are, and say what you want about the defensive coordinator, but, and choking in big games. But they look to me like, I mean, the bottom line is this looks like the best division in all of football.
It might be the best division in all of sports. I got to say, the NFC North just got better. People that are discounting the Vikings, look what they did with Sam Darnold last year.
Even Josh Dobbs.
That's right. And remember, Justin Jefferson came in off of an injury.
Right.
He's fully healthy this year. They've added some running back depth. I love the offense in Minnesota. Don't fade Justin Jefferson, and make sure you get your hands on J.J. McCarthy at some point in your draft. But let's get a little bit of love and some insight from our friends over at fantasypoints.com. They've got their list of top rookies, which we're going to share with you here. Again, this is premium paid content that you guys are getting for free. If you want to get your membership over there and get a discount, head to fantasypoints.com, and when you check out, just put in Woodward code, or put in the code Woodward, and you'll get 10% off. And keep in mind, whoever spends the most today in the Super Chat is getting a membership for free. Ryan, let's take a look at Fantasy Points top rookies for this year. We'll take a look based on, no, not yet. My bad there. Let's talk impact rookies, all right? Is there a Jaden Daniels in the quarterback class this year?
I mean, that's a tough call, right? There is nobody with the raw speed and athleticism, but there's a couple winners in there that are pretty equal. Cam Ward and Jackson Dart are similar speed, very prolific numbers in college. Both played in tough divisions. One the toughest. Both seem like solid leaders. Both look pretty good in the preseason. While I don't think there's a guy that is necessarily going to be a league winner type quarterback, it seems like very quickly, if they do decide to start him based on the look, Jackson Dart looks fantastic.
I love Jackson Dart coming into this one. I don't think that anybody in this class is going to be anywhere near Jaden Daniels, but these are the guys that I do believe are serious impacts. We're going to hustle through them real quickly here because I know that we're going to have Theo on shortly. Omarion Hampton over there with that cheater known as Jim Harbaugh they're in Los Angeles now. They are the Chargers. This guy is an absolute horse. Are you drafting him in the second round?
Yeah, I believe so. Depends on where, but yeah, in the second round. I mean, we had a little bit of an accident with
Najee Harris. That's right.
And it's really unfortunate. But Omarion Hampton, he's got it all: size, speed, production, opportunity, offensive line, a quarterback. I mean, what's not to love?
No doubt about it. Let's head on to number 4. This is a guy that you guys are going to be surprised is on here. I'm really high on, the Packers supply, and that is the new wideout, Matthew Golden. 4.29 speed, tremendous route runner, productive in college after he transferred. This is a team that's been desperate for a true wide receiver one. You got Christian Watkins out. You got Jaden Reed, who's hurt right now. And Romeo Doubs is nothing more than a possession receiver. I think that this guy is going to make Lion fans hate him for many years to come.
Yeah, I agree. As much as I didn't love him necessarily as a prospect, all reports are that he looks fantastic.
Moving all over the line.
Moving all over. I mean, the guy is like absolute lightning. He's got swagger, which you need as your wide receiver. The guy seems like, and Jordan Love is incredibly accurate. So I'm sure Cheese Country's pretty happy with that.
That's right. He's going to be
I just
creating
think this is
plenty
another case of too many mouths to feed, though, in this offense, just like the Bears. You have all those guys, even Dontavian Wicks is still on the team who caught a lot of passes last year. Tucker Kraft as a tight end, who could also be a type of sleeper this year. I think it's just too many mouths to feed for Golden to really feast.
And I would agree with you on that one, except for I think that this guy is so much better than all of the others. Shout out to our guy Brendan in the sound booth. And, of course, I forgot to mention the guy who's making us look so good over here, my guy Ryan. Shout out, Ryan.
What's going on, guys?
He's going to have some a fantasy question for Theo a little bit later. We're going to hustle up through these so we can get to Theo here in a short second. Tyler Warren, number 3 for me. This guy looks like he could be Brock Bowers 2.0. Reports out of Indianapolis is that they're using him everywhere. As a wideout, as a tight end. He's even getting the ball as a running back.
Yeah, I mean, Gronk 2.0.
Gronk 2.0.
Monster. Absolute monster. Out of the real tight end Penn State, Brenton State, Brenton Strange, Theo Johnson, even Gesicki before that. They produce some absolute athletes. I love all 3 of those Penn State. Not Gesicki. All 3 of the young Penn State tight ends this year in fantasy drafts. Tyler Warren is an absolute beast, and I think Danny Dimes should be able to put the ball near that giant
as long
man.
as he's the starter. No more AR-15, please. I love that take. Travis Hunter, number 2. This is a guy that really we don't know what he is, where he's going to be, where he's going to get his snaps. We know that he's excellent at D-back. We know that he's excellent at wide receiver. The amount of capital they paid to come up and get this kid, if you have an IDP league, if your offensive players can get stats on both sides of it, there's a case that you take this kid over Ashton Jeanty in rookie drafts.
Yeah.
Only if you get stats on both sides of the ball in your league. Let me clarify that. If you get tackles, interceptions, things like that, as well as your offensive points, I think there's a serious debate with him and Jeanty.
Yeah, I mean, check your stats, right? So he is – I could see him – he's a wide receiver. Make no mistake about it. But in nickel situation, blitz packages, high-pressure situations, you bring this guy in, and from a fantasy impact, sack, force, fumble, touchdown, combined with 7 catches, 71 yards, and a half a touchdown. You're talking about, somebody that could, absolutely be a league winner, especially with that Jacksonville schedule.
Like J.J. Watt when he was catching touchdowns.
Right.
I'd love it. All right, final one. Well, we talked about him many times. We don't need to go too far into it. Ashton Jeanty. This was a guy that I felt I wasn't taken into the second round. The more I've seen out of him at practice, preseason, this guy seems like the real deal. He's definitely a first-rounder in my opinion now, and maybe he's creeping into your top 5?
Yeah, I think that depending on your league settings and, who's going where, I would consider taking him there, right? And it all depends on your draft plan. That being said, he's different.
Very different.
He is built differently. His productivity he's the closest prospect to Barry Sanders that I've seen from a size, speed, statistics, and MJD was pretty close there for a little while, but not quite as prolific. I haven't seen anything like it since then.
Wow, we have some breaking news from Dante151 who hit us with the $10 super chat
It is
to
legit,
tell us.
by the way.
Is this real?
Yes, I already
This
checked.
is real?
I saw it and I checked it. We're good.
Holy shit. Chiefs are sending Sky Moore to the San Francisco 49ers. The 49ers have been decimated with injuries at wide receiver. What is going on now? Sky Moore. Oh,
Does this move
What a
any needle for you,
disappointment.
though?
really don't want to tell you who I drafted Sky Moore over. So we'll just move on. There's a name I left off of that list, guys, and it might have upset a few of you. Ted McMillan. This is a guy that is number 1 wide receiver on a lot of people's rookie lists. I'm not quite sold on him. In fact, there's a comparison that I was shocked when you brought up last night, because I was telling our boy Justin Satawa yesterday the same thing, and then you brought up a name that scares the shit out of me.
I really, in today's NFL, don't like contested catch guys, the guys that are known for contested catches. N'Keal Harry is a comp that I get. I hope he's different.
Wow, that
you know,
guy
a lot of folks are all
scary.
in. Generally, top 10 receivers are an absolute screaming value in fantasy drafts. I mean, all reports are good. He looks good. He seems like he might have strong mentals. So I think that's what's going to be the real difference.
Yeah. Ted, it's all going to come down to Bryce. If Bryce can be a player in this league, which he showed some life at the end of last season, obviously he's got the Southern boy down there, Mr. Xavier Legette. If you haven't heard a soundbite from Xavier, go and find one. I promise you. It's good. Talking about eating raccoons and all kinds of possum and everything. So, I don't know, man. Ted seems like he's a little more polished than N'Keal Harry. I got to be honest with you, though. I'm not sold on the quarterback situation. I'd be drafting Matthew Golden over him. Call me crazy.
Yeah, I've watched a lot of tape. He doesn't also seem to be like a fantastic separator. Like, he was able to use his size and leverage in college. So it's going to be his ability to really tighten up those routes and you know, work the head fakes to be able to get open in this league. So we'll see. I mean, personally, he's been kind of shooting up draft boards. You know, there's not a lot of love at wide receiver and a lot of guys after pick 100. So guys are being moved up.
All right. Well, you heard it there. There's some awesome rookies, guys. Rookies are my absolute favorite part of fantasy, but my absolute favorite part is getting the great info from the league leaders, the industry insiders, and we have one of our very own today. He's the lead analyst for fantasypoints.com. This is a guy who was the runner-up just recently in the Fantasy Football Championship Silver Bullet. 2019, he was the number 1 in standings in fantasy. Theo Greminger. Hold on 1 minute here. Let me get this.
Just needed an earpiece, guys, but we are all good.
Completely forgot. Sorry, guys. Theo Greminger, do we have him on? We got him on?
Right here.
Theo, my man, how are you?
Anson, what's going on? Thanks for having me on.
We got a sound? Theo, can you hear us?
Yeah, I can hear you guys.
Can you hear him?
I cannot.
Okay, we're working on some sound here, Theo.
Yeah, can we get him
Apologize
on
for
the
that.
monitor? Do we have monitors?
No. Theo, we're gonna get our technical tight here. We're gonna have our technician come in, and we'll get right back to you, my friend. Apologize for that, listeners. We're gonna get our guy in here right now. Sorry about that. Want to tell you a little bit more about Fantasy Points, guys. These guys have given up a free membership each and every Fantasy Jerks show, and at the as well, when you get over to their website, if you just punch in the code Woodward, you will get a discount on that membership. So check them out. Honestly, it's just one of the most unbelievable tools of analytics that I've ever seen, Brandon. It's unbelievable.
Yeah, it's one thing I thought was really amazing is the analytics set. And like, if you were big into analytics and customization, there's tons of options to be able to go on there. Like, I was playing around with setting some parameters to like, their workhorse report's huge, but then I was trying to drill down into, you know, a segment later and get some statistics on some running backs, and it was nice to be able to filter by the number of carries. It's an all-around business set of intelligence that you can use, well, not just for fantasy football, but also betting. It's really fantastic to be able to look at all the situational football statistics, all of the efficiency statistics, all of the there's a lot of ability. So so there's a lot of the articles are really fantastic. Obviously, when you dig into the draft plan, something I highly recommend. If you go into John Hansen's draft plan, he actually has in-depth draft plans into if you pick in, let's say the 5th pick, the guys you should be looking at each round, along with all strategies for specific round targets on guys that fantasypoints.com have really highly rated. What I like about them is there seems to be consistency across it, and something I've found in fantasy football is when you establish a narrative, the more consistent you are as a product with that narrative, the more focused your results are going to be. So one thing you should be doing and take advantage of is obviously the articles. The cheat sheet customizer is fantastic. You can program your individual settings for your league in there. You can customize the projections. You can move people around if you want to.
All the tools you need.
All the tools you need. It's a full
I think we've
toolbox.
got our technical difficulties taken care of here. Let's see if we can get Theo back on the line here. Hey, Theo. Sorry about that. How are you, my friend?
I'm doing great. Happy to chop it up with you guys.
First episode.
That's fantastic, man.
There we go.
We were just talking about your website. It's truly tremendous. There's a lot of pay options out there, and I think a lot of people are, shy to get into them, and some of them they've been using for years, and they're afraid to jump into something new. We've been blown away by Fantasy Points over the last week that we've really dived into what you guys have put together.
Yeah, no, I really appreciate that. It's my first year with Fantasy Points, and I joined it because I think it's the best team in fantasy football. Brett Whitefield, Scott Barrett, John Hansen, Ryan Heath, Graham Barfield, the list sort of goes on. And then we also offer the best data in the fantasy industry. Fantasy Points Data Suite is just incredible. You can really dive into a rabbit hole with your draft preps, with your waiver wire additions, everything the data suite offers you. So yeah, really appreciate that. And Fantasy Points is definitely where it's at. And I think we're gonna have a massive year coming out with some very, very cool stuff on a weekly basis that can help you win in fantasy football. And if you have a draft coming up, tons of resources like you were saying on the site.
I got to know, when was your first year playing fantasy?
Oh man, I'm going back. You're aging me in front of the audience. I've been doing it for a while. I'd say with the high stakes stuff, maybe 2014, 2015 started really getting into it. Started having a lot of success in it, and then that was sort of how I started. I was sort of a play. You hear it's like a player first. I was a player first, and then started getting into the content side, and that's just sort of gone off the rails. So now I'm just doing a ton of content, and also still participate in a lot of these high stakes drafts, trying to go out and win some serious money. We just participated in FFPC main event draft, Scott Barrett and I, last night. We streamed that one on Fantasy Points YouTube. That's going to be coming out as a podcast. Draft went pretty well. We got Tet McMillan, and I hear you guys are kind of bumping heads on that one, but Tet is definitely shooting up in terms of the draft boards. I'll throw out another guy, contested catches. Drake London had this sort of reputation as a contested catch. Yep, and he's certainly working out. I think when it comes to
Black
Tet,
box prospect too. He didn't test, so it was hard to make that call. But you were able to get a value if you believed in him.
Yeah, and I think that's the same with Tet. What resonated with me early on with Tet McMillan, we've been high on him for a while. Brett Whitefield, sort of like one of the best ball knowers in the entire space, NFL or fantasy-wise. He's had Tet as his wide receiver one in this class. I've had Tet as my wide receiver one in this class. One thing that kind of resonated with me when we talk about the athleticism is Tet gets this reputation that, he's got the great size, but the sheer athletic ability. Jed Fish said it's the best and most athletic player he's ever coached.
Wow.
That really resonated. And for me, it was really a body control thing where Tet has this incredible body control. He's shifty for his size. I think he projects as a big-time target earner, which is really excited when you talk about a 6'5", 210-pounder. And then we talk about Bryce Young. Bryce Young's had his ups and downs, certainly ended last year on a high note. But one thing Bryce Young has done for us as fantasy managers is he's had a tendency to lock into his number one preferred target. We all saw that season in Bryce Young's rookie year where Adam Thielen was this huge ADP hit. I think that's sort of the floor for Tet. I think Tet this year could be a 140 target guy out the gate. I think there's a reason he's moving up. The vibes are great there, and the role is really strong. It looks like Carolina could be a team that potentially might move a wide receiver. They seem a little bit logjam there in terms of the amount of bodies, but one thing is sort of clear is Tet is the wide receiver one there. And I think there's a chance that it's the number one offensive focal point in this offense. Dave Canales had a ton of success with a big-bodied wide receiver 2 seasons ago in Tampa Bay with Mike Evans. I think you're going to see a lot of it with Tet McMillan this year. McMillan.
Are we going to see any life out of Jonathan Brooks in Carolina?
I don't think so. For me, the Trevor Etienne selection was sort of a big indictment where the franchise was very excited to get Trevor Etienne, and it seemed to us like you give Chuba Hubbard that big contract, then you sign Rico Dowdle coming off of a strong season to be the backup, and then you use that early fourth-round pick in an incredibly deep draft of running backs where Carolina could have drafted somebody in round 6, round 7. Instead, they choose to use that fourth-round pick on Trevor Etienne, one of the younger running backs in the class. For me, that's sort of we don't have any faith in Jonathan Brooks. Let's develop Trevor Etienne as sort of our down-the-line running back. Or maybe it's even, if you want to take an optimistic approach on Brooks, it's a hedge against Jonathan Brooks, but it's not a good thing. I think Jonathan Brooks, it's unfortunate, but I don't really believe he's ever going to hit in the NFL.
Yeah, and I was warning people last year that were drafting him. I'm like, it's an old Matt Kelly thing. Like, don't draft hurt players, right? But yep. Theo, I want to say first thing is like, it's an honor to have you on here. You know, listening to you on the Sonic Truth podcast with Matt Kelly and Billy Muzio, you know, for years. It's really cool to have you on here. It's our first show, so apologize for the jitters, but big honor. I
appreciate that.
Yeah, you, Graham Barfield, Derek Brown, Matt, Evan Silva, JJ, Scott Barrett. You guys turned around my fantasy life. So some people that are watching this live stream can attest to that. But I will say, I've also enjoyed your written analysis. So the first question is, where's your crystal ball hidden?
Well, that one just dropped today. That article is
that.
Free up. That's up at Fantasy Points. You like the Biff Tannen reference?
I tell you, that piece is fantastic. Everybody should check it out, fantasypoints.com. The 2025 Fantasy Football Bowl predictions, like all the articles I've read that you've done is prescient. But I want to ask you something specifically. And I touched on it for a second, and it's about creating narratives. And I noticed that you do that. And it's almost like a manifestation technique that you use to kind of like, let's create a narrative and let's follow it. So, and you've got so much big game experience. Tell me how you do that. What informs that? What's your tips and tricks with that?
Yeah, I think that I get a lot of credit for the Devon Achane calls his rookie season. That was like a big hit for us. Last year, I think I was one of the few people that kind of liked the landing spot for Brock Bowers. A lot of people were sort of beating him up because of that landing spot. I think you have to take a step back and look at why these teams selected these players, what their plans are for these players. And sometimes when when everything sort of lines up, it can be much better than a lot of other analysts are sort of seeing. So I think you have to take big stands in fantasy if you're going to win big. And I think this is also a takeaway for a lot of players who are just in a very important home league. When you're going into your drafts, you have to have a sense of belief in what you're doing, and you have to be willing to finish 10th in order to finish first sometimes, where trying to pay for last year's stats. Like, the one player who's never good in fantasy is the wait and see it first drafter. You know that guy. You're in leagues with that guy. And it's a guy where it's like, I can't really trust this guy. Maybe I'll draft him in 2026. I want to see if it works out for him. That sort of guy is sort of dead in the water. I think another edge that we've been able to uncover is embracing players on new teams in new situations, where I think that would sometimes scare people years back, where I've taken exposure to some of these guys over the years. You end up with situations like Stephon Diggs, his first year in Buffalo. These players where the ADP market sort of beats them up a little bit for kind of ridiculous reasons. These guys and rookies have been hitting at a higher rate. So every time there's a player in sort of a new situation, we need to say, why did that team spend that money? Why did that team trade that pick to get this player? And a lot of times the market is not evaluating it for what the upside case could be with that particular player. So yeah, I think for me, I wouldn't say I'm a risky drafter, but I think I'm more open to seeing like the upside cases for a lot of these players and embracing them and not being afraid to have like a little more exposure to the same player in multiple drafts. Because when you really hit on some of these guys, that's how you sort of win these leagues.
I love the
it.
upside conversation. You said it's not going to be Jonathan Brooks. I want to know who this year's Chase Brown is. I've been a big Chase Brown guy since he came out of Illinois. And I'm looking at a guy like Trey Benson. I'm looking at a Braylon Allen. Who is it, in your opinion, that's going to be this year's Chase Brown?
Well, I'll take a double answer here. I'll mention a couple of guys because I think they're all really good options for you in your drafts. I think one way to approach the fantasy football season is embracing this Clint Kubiak Seattle backfield. Seattle's been back-to-back seasons, bottom 5 in rushing yard production. They bring in Kubiak. Kubiak is going to use heavy fullback usage. He did that in New Orleans last year. And Kubiak looked like the smartest man in the world for the first 2 weeks last year in New Orleans. I think he's going to get back a little bit of that mojo in Seattle. I think it's an underrated offense. But Kenneth Walker is a strong pick. Every time he's on the field, the guy scores points. But if you are worried about Kenneth Walker and his fragility and his inability to stay on the field, week in, week out, then I think Zach Charbonnet, he's the best contingent upside play at the running back position. I think he's the number one handcuff running back in football. And I think if Kenneth Walker misses time, Zach Charbonnet is not only like a low-end RB1, but I think he's a player who could average 18, 19 points per game. And the one thing with Chase Brown is Chase Brown started out slowly. Zach Moss ends up getting banged up, clears the pathway, and then Chase Brown runs with it. So I think Zach Charbonnet would be like sort of the low-hanging fruit there. I love Braylon Allen. I'm a sucker for Braylon Allen.
Yeah,
Braylon Allen.
Yes.
I think Braylon Allen is just that guy. You're talking about like a player that got on a Big Ten football field at 17 years old and was awesome. And the story that always resonates with me with Braylon Allen is Robert Saleh drafts him. They draft him in the 4th round. And Robert Saleh is you guys know Robert Saleh well up in your neck of the woods. Robert Saleh is a very physically fit guy, really weight room guy, like one of the most into it NFL coaches. And Robert Saleh tells his strength and conditioning coach, he goes, you know what? We drafted Braylon Allen. I'm looking at him on film, and I see he's 240 plus. Yeah. How about we get him down to 230? I think that's really going to help Braylon Allen, make him quicker on the field, make him burstier. And the strength and conditioning coach goes, Coach, that's impossible because Braylon Allen has one of the lowest body fat percentages on the Jets right now at 240. Wow. The guy's just a physical specimen, was like an 8% body fat at 240. Ridiculous. And Braylon Allen, I think you have a coach that really sees what the upside case can be with him. Aaron Glenn wants to have a run-heavy offense. That's Braylon Allen. And you also bring Tanner Engstrand over from Detroit. You talk about what the roles could be. If Breece Hall's in some like a kind of like a poor man's Jahmyr Gibbs role, then Braylon Allen could be in like a rich man's David Montgomery role, where that Montgomery role might end up being the more valuable one in the Jets backfield at ADP.
Especially
and if
with Justin Fields.
Yeah, and Justin Fields open up those lanes. So for me, Braylon Allen's been a major part of my draft strategy in early drafts. You used to be able to get him in the 12th round, 13th round, 14th round. Now you're having to use sort of a 10th round pick on him. I still think he's a very strong pick in those ranges. Trey Benson, you bring up, he's interesting because Arizona's been incredibly successful running the ball. I think we trust them to run the ball well there. And James Conner, the injury, he's been very fortunate with injuries recently, but he sort of has that reputation as a guy who always misses games. Last year was the first year that he played in every single game. So Trey Benson, I think he's a contingent upside guy. But for me, I really like Braylon Allen. I really like Zach Charbonnet. And then this could be the year of the handcuff. There's a ton of these backs that are older that have
You're
withstood
taking my questions
volume.
away, Theo.
Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry. Yeah, go for it. Go for it. Yeah, no, I'll step back.
We are here with Theo Greminger, the lead analyst at fantasypoints.com. Some awesome stuff so far, and I know that my guy here has got one more for you. Now, you brought up K9. You're talking to three Spartans here, but I agree with you. I think that the end of the line is coming soon for him. So I believe in Charbonnet. What do you got for him, Brandon?
No, so we're kind of on opposite ends of the table here, literally and figuratively. So I'm a big Breece Hall truther. So I love your call about Dallas. Anson and I were actually talking last night about like being able to get both Braylon and Breece and maybe them both paying off because, for multitude of reasons. But if Breece goes to Dallas, I love that call. Do you see anything like, could you see Jonathan Taylor on the move? I could see, because the success of the late Christian McCaffrey move deepened, to move a playoff run. I could see that the mimicry of that.
So for me, Taylor, they paid him. So Taylor's the appeal to Breece Hall is Breece Hall. I think he could be on the move. New York has not extended
Contract
year, and Breece Hall has the relative youth. He's also has the NFL draft capital, which you always get these general managers who said, I liked him. I didn't get him, but he was a second-round prospect. Jets took him in round 2. We also graded him as a round 2 player. I'd love to get a chance to put him on our team. I think that the Breece Hall marketplace could be similar to like what Tony Pollard had when he signed with Tennessee. It's going to be there. Breece Hall's never averaged fewer than 15 points per game. He's always been a very strong receiver out of the backfield, been very fantasy friendly, but some of the old school like NFL mentality, a lot of those GMs will say, it's also a guy that's never ran for 1,000 yards in any season in his career. I do think there'll be a market for Breece Hall. And when you started looking at teams that could use an upgrade of talent at the running back position that could be contenders this year, Dallas just sort of stands out. They have nothing at running back that inspires us. Washington, I'll throw it in the mix because I think they're going to sort of moneyball their way to trying to win with Ja'Cory Krosky-Merritt, Chris Rodriguez, and then like very old Austin Eckler catching passes out of the backfield. That might work for them, but they might say, hey, we need another dude for the NFL playoffs. Let's push the chips in, go trade for Breece Hall. So you can name a number of teams there. And then with Braylon Allen, Isaiah Davis, and also Donovan Edwards looks like he's going to be a capable NFL backup running back. There's enough in New York that I think they can afford to move on for Breece Hall, especially if they're not going to pay him.
Could I ask you another question? So I noticed on the Fantasy Truth podcast that you tend to favor Lions. Are you from Michigan or?
No, Brett Whitefield. Brett Whitefield's is very. I'm very much in his ear about the Lions. No, I love Dan Campbell, Ben Johnson. I wrote this article at The Athletic last year, a weekly article, and I feel like I wrote about Ben Johnson every single week. Ben Johnson is like the smartest man in the room. And I think for us as fantasy football managers, getting a chance to see Ben Johnson's offense for those seasons in Detroit and just the ascension, I absolutely root for Dan Campbell. He's one of my favorite head coaches in the NFL, and I loved his coaching staff. I'm very excited to see what Aaron Glenn can do. I live on Long Island, so like Aaron Glenn taking over, that's an exciting thing. Tanner Engstrand taking over. But really for me, it's the talent of Detroit. I love Jahmyr Gibbs. I've been all over Jahmyr Gibbs. I have so much Jahmyr Gibbs in Dynasty. It's kind of disgusting. It's so much. But Jameson Williams, I love Jameson Williams this year. I think Jameson's going to have a huge year. Laporta, we were fortunate to have some good calls on him during his rookie season. I had some exposure to him, and I still do on the Dynasty teams. And obviously Amon-Ra St. Brown. It's not a disrespect to Amon-Ra St. Brown, but I think this could be the Jameson Williams ascension year where I think the targets go from like 90 to like 115 level. John Morton, I think, wants to use him. I think Dan Campbell knows that there's a little gas left in the tank of what they can get out of Jameson Williams. Last year was his first full season where we really saw him take his game to another level, get 14 points per game. So if we see the target volume increase, we see them use him in more creative ways, which I think they could. And we also will see those manufactured rushing attempts, which is sort of an X factor for the Lions offense. I think Jameson Williams could be an awesome pick at ADP. So I would. It's not a love for Detroit. It's more of a respect for the Detroit Lions and the talent that they have at the skill positions, and also just the peace of mind that you have this awesome offensive line. We have really, really strong offensive line rankings at Fantasy Points, and we're continually updating them throughout the season. Even with the loss of Ragnow, we still had Detroit as a top 5 offensive line, and that was sort of they're locked in there. So we're very, very optimistic about that line playing well this year, and I think that it's the narrative that Ben Johnson leaves, therefore the offense is going to regress a little bit. That might get some people in trouble. I'm still embracing drafting Detroit Lions, making them part of my draft plan. Jahmyr Gibbs, I love in round 1. Amon-Ra St. Brown has almost become a value this year because he's falling into the second round more and more often. I would say I'm neutral on Amon-Ra, but when he falls in my lap, I'm gonna press the button.
So when
Jameson Williams, though, I want a lot. What's that?
Will you tell us about heliocentrism? Was that Copernicus or was that Galileo? I believe it's a term you used to describe the Detroit Lions offense going through Amon-Ra St. Brown. I loved it. We are still a heliocentric offense, and when you need that crucial first down, he's the guy that gets it. So I'm still incredibly high. I believe there's a lot of ceiling there for him to crack the top 5 of fantasy leagues. There's a lot of balls to go around, especially if the division continues.
Theo, I got to tell you, though, there's a lot of people in Detroit that are listening right now that absolutely love that you're calling for the JMO ascension. You think that's going to happen?
Yeah, I think it's going to happen. And I put Detroit as my Super Bowl pick in my bold predictions article. I think that
we saw that. We can talk about the result of that prediction.
Yeah, you could save that one till I'm off the air. But I have Detroit losing to Baltimore, so it's sort of I think Detroit takes another step this year. I think that it's going to work, and I think the NFC. I think it's so hard to get back to the Super Bowl. A lot of people think Philadelphia is going to get there. I think Detroit, like the way that the season ended last year, I think the defense is going to be better. I think that offense has a little more room to run. It's the relative youth where you have Jameson Williams is still a relatively inexperienced player. Sam Laporta is entering his 3rd year in the league. Jahmyr Gibbs, 3rd year in the league, might be the most talented back in the NFL. Isaac Tesla, I think stylistically is going to help you guys out a lot. I think he's an absolute beast. I know Brett Whitefield, big fan of his. I think it's sort of he's a monster. And some of these highlights from camp, it's like you can just picture Tesla catching touchdowns at opportune times in big games. I don't think he's ever going to find our fantasy lineup unless there was an injury to someone. But I think that like in best ball, he's become a really strong pick, like in round 15 on. Yeah, I think he's going to have some weeks. So
some spike weeks for sure.
Yeah. Theo, I got to be honest, man. You've been amazing. You've been with us longer than we had asked you to be. We could do another 2-3 hours with you, I'm sure. I do want to cut you loose and allow you to get back to whatever you got doing. I know you're a busy guy, but I got one question from one of our biggest fans, Dante151. Bijan or Jahmyr? Careful, you're talking to Detroit right now.
Yeah, it's splitting hairs. And I have Bijan at 2 overall. I have Jahmyr Gibbs at 3 overall. I think that the difference for me is the mouse to feed arguments. And I think it's for me, I think Jahmyr Gibbs has room to run as a receiver this year. I think he could be a 65 catch guy. But I think if it goes well for Bijan, he could be an 80 catch guy. Right. If you took Jahmyr Gibbs and you put him on Atlanta, I think that the answer to this would be Jahmyr Gibbs. But it's more mouse to feed in Detroit. Atlanta's going to be incredibly. It's going to be it is absolutely a cliche alert. Shout out to the Podfather on that one.
Shout out to the Podfather.
But yeah, I think it's just splitting hairs. I have them finishing as RB1 overall and RB2 overall. I have them both averaging in the bold predictions article. I have them both north of 21 points per game. Like if you don't get Jamar Chase, just take one of those two backs. I think it's going to be a dead heat between the two of them to finish as the RB1 overall this year. I have both of them ahead of Saquon Barkley. I'm confident in that statement. I think that both guys are 23 years old, but splitting hairs, just like a slight edge to Bijan, because I think he's going to be featured week in, week out. Jahmyr Gibbs, not quite as many receptions this year is going to be the difference.
Okay. Well, you heard it here from the lead analyst at fantasypoints.com, our guy Theo Greminger. I can't thank you enough, man. You're fantastic. The insight is tremendous, and we look forward to catching up with you some more this year.
Well, one more thing. Any shameless plugs you want to make?
Yeah, just check out School of Scott. I record that with Scott Barrett every single week. Dynasty Life came over with me from Player Profiler. That show's really grown a lot for your Dynasty listeners. And then Fantasy Football Daily is the big one. You're going to get all my waiver wire advice, all my start-sit advice. We have some of the fantastic voices from Fantasy Points will join me. I'm dropping like 3-4 shows a week on there. And yeah, check out everything we're doing at Fantasy Points on the website. And look at Fantasy Points YouTube. We've been the fastest growing YouTube channel in the fantasy space this summer for a reason. We're putting out videos that are not only entertaining, but can help you win money in fantasy football this season.
Absolutely love that. Love that. Well, check them out at the fantasy, having a trouble talking. Fantasypoints.com, and when you get over there, enter in Woodward as your code when you're checking out. You're going to get 10% off. And, of course, we've got a membership at the end of the show that we're going to give out. Theo Greminger, can't thank you enough, my friend.
Good luck this
Anytime,
season,
guys. Thanks for having me. You guys as well.
Absolutely. Take care. All right. That was fantastic, guys. Hey, Fantasy Jerks, episode 1, man. We're cooking already. Theo really dropping the hammer there with big-time facts, big-time knowledge. Make sure you guys check him out. He gave you all the spots to find him. Fantasypoints.com. Again, enter that code Woodward, and you get 10% off when you're checking out. Let's keep it going with some questions and answers. I'm going to go into Ski Mask Boy. I appreciate it. I wore this one to match up with that logo. I do appreciate you guys. Anybody else in the chat that you guys want to hit us with some questions? It might be before your time, but there was a segment called Dear Abby back in the day, and we've got one called Dear Anson. So if you've got something that you want to, yes, Anson does have a mini man bun because I can't get it braided, guys, but those aren't the questions that we're looking for right now. So hit us with some fantasy questions real quick right now, and we will read them. Just hopping in through the chat right here. He's letting my idiot league mates draft McCaffrey, says Spenmo Chins. I got to be honest, man. I think McCaffrey, if he stays healthy, I think is a crazy value where you're getting him in oftentimes in the second round. He's a guy that people are turned him into an afterthought. But again, if he stays healthy, he is the focal point of a very good offense and could end up being RB1 if he stays healthy. Big caveat.
Big caveat. Christian McCaffrey has a lot of tread on the gone from the tires,
yeah.
and soft tissue injuries in the late 20s start to add up.
Okay.
And I don't know if I'm like maybe doing like a big game or shooting for the moon or something, maybe that's the place to take them. But like home league and work leagues and whatnot, I don't know if you can afford the risk at the price.
Those anonymous Yahoo leagues, you're drafting them?
Right.
The price being the second round there, though, you could possibly get Christian McCaffrey as your RB.
Understand. But I love so many people at the front of the.
I'm with Brendan on that one.
And he's only 2 years removed from being in 40% of teams that were in the championship, being the RB1 by like 4 fantasy points.
Yeah, and I passed on him that year too, so that especially hurt. I took Justin Jefferson.
So you're a little bitter.
Yeah, a little bitter.
You're a little bitter.
I also traded him away in Dynasty.
So great question, the Ski Mask Boy. Dear Anson, can I join a Woodward Fantasy League? Hey, we have a league that we are doing.
Funny you should ask.
My man, funny you should ask. To be fair, my buddy here, Kaz, and I, along with our gentleman here in the broadcast booths, we are opening up 6 spots in a redraft league, but it is the Fantasy Jerks League. I am dialing up an incredible prize package. It is free to enter. What I need you guys to do, if you're serious and you want to join the league, I need you to email me at anson@woodwardsports.com and say, hey, I'm serious. I want to get in the league. Next Wednesday, we will be selecting 3 of you from everybody that emails us in, and you will be in, my friend. I'm trying to get Braylon in there as well. I think he's shown some interest in playing, but it'll be a lot of fun, and we'd love to hear what you guys have to say. Got some other questions here. What happened in 2903? I'm getting offered Tyler Warren and Cortland Sutton for Bowers. 0.5 PPR dynasty. Should I take it? That's a tough one. We started off talking about no big nose on you guys, huh?
Not a tough one.
I mean, to me, I'm worried about the situation with the Raiders and what I'm reading about them possibly not just running the ball through Brock Bowers.
Bird in the hand.
But you've got Ashton Jeanty now, and you didn't have anything like that in Vegas last year. How much of that is going? How much of the offense is still going to go through Brock Bowers?
It just makes Brock better.
Okay. Well, to me, Ty Warren.
Still love him.
Yeah, if Tyler Warren has Danny Dimes under center, this can be a debate, maybe. But, I mean, I'm not accepting that because, I got Brock Bowers in my dynasty team. I love him, and I'm not letting him
Try to get
go.
more for it.
Yeah, maybe a little more. Maybe you get a first rounder in there. It might be a little bit closer, but Brock showed too much last year. He showed that he might be the best tight end
We
ever
didn't even
seen.
get Theo talking about it, but they make some pretty bold predictions that on fantasypoints.com that you guys should check out. And they will have you drinking the Bowers Kool-Aid even more.
Okay. The question from Dante151, Dear Anson, so is the show just for fantasy football, or are you guys going to do fantasy basketball, hockey, and baseball as well? That's a great question. A few people have asked me that. Shout out to my cousin Jared who asked me that. I think it's a little too late to get into baseball. We definitely would love to talk some basketball when it comes, because that is one of my favorite fantasy sports. Not sure we've got the viewership for a hockey one, but keep asking, guys. If you want some information on that stuff, I'm sure that we can get one of our hockey guys up here for a special episode. I'm sure that you and I will be talking some hoops when it comes down to October. But that's a great question. We are still working on that, maybe next year, but this will be a dedicated football show for the most part this season. Once again, these next 2 weeks, we're going to be dialing everything up so you can dominate your drafts and win your league. September 3rd, that Wednesday, is episode number 3, the day before Thursday night football opens up in the NFL. On the 3rd, we will be helping you with your lineups and getting you ready to take the team you drafted into the season to dominate and go win yourself a championship.
And all through the season, we will be helping you with waiver wires,
yes,
acquisitions,
of course.
Strategies, life advice,
No doubt about
meditation
it.
tips.
No doubt about it. Any other questions in the chat here? We'll get to them. We're going to press forward because we spent a little extra time with Theo, which I thought was awesome. But we got a couple more things to get to. So Brandon and I, we went through and we did a 2-round mock draft. We'll see how you guys feel about it. I got to be honest, a few of my choices after hearing Theo probably have changed. But we'll get it started here. Keep in mind, Brandon Kaz had the odd picks, and I had the even picks. So Ryan will bring that up for us here, and we'll take a look. First pick to Brandon Kazmarek, he went with Bijan Robinson. Second pick, I think everybody's, most part, they're either taking Bijan, Jameer, or Jamar Chase at the number 1. I'm going with the homer pick at number 2. I am going back to Saquon Barkley. All he has to do is stay healthy, and he's getting 2,000 yards.
So
again.
the 400 touches didn't scare you. And look, I know that potentially there's some people that are drafting with me in some leagues right now, so I'm not trying to. I mean, I want to bring it, but I don't want to.
You got to bring it, buddy. That's why you're here. That's
400 touches is incredibly scary.
Well, anything over 325, once you get to the 375 mark, there's a historical,
That's right,
absolute in stone that
nobody
you have
gets
about
over 300 yards after.
Yeah.
One of Theo's bold predictions is that the year of the handicap. So both Keaton Mitchell and Shipley. We should get some run in some games this year that maybe these are guys you should be targeting in the late rounds, because generally these teams are both successful and they've had a lot of, these guys are getting up there and they've got a lot of miles on them, and if they're going to make deep playoff runs, they're going to need the rest of the big guys.
I got another question that came in here that I want to get to real quick. Spenmo Chin's 3. I'm going 0 wide receiver for my draft strategy. Thoughts? I love it, bro. In fact, if you look at the analytics of championships in fantasy football, over 60% of them are weighted on priority running backs. Not on a great wide receiver, not on a quarterback. When you have the top running backs, you win championships. So I love that, to be quite honest.
And it's a differentiation. right? So it changes your odds, and then you just absolutely have to love rounds 3, 4, and 5 for receivers this year. It's absolutely
no
fantastic.
doubt about it. No doubt about it. And honestly, while everyone else is going 0 RB, take advantage of it.
It's differentiation.
No doubt about it. So
Big.
heading on after Saquon, I think you can guess Jamar Chase went to my buddy here, Kaz, at number 3. Jahmyr Gibbs at 4. Jay Jetta at number 5. Justin Jefferson. Number 6, Amon-Ra St. Brown. Didn't quite sneak into the second round there. For me, it's hard for me to get past a guy that is the stick-moving, touchdown scoring, throw it to him when you absolutely need a first down.
And always open and always catches it and plays through broken ribs and just a dog.
And I took him before Puka, who you ended up taking at 7, followed up by Ashton Jeanty, a guy that I wouldn't have taken in the first round 2 weeks ago. And now I'm picking him at 8.
Let's get back to Puka.
I might have taken him at
I have a
6
question
now.
about Puka here.
Let's get back to
hear it.
Puka. Okay,
Let's hear
Brendan,
it.
what do you got?
So it's the difference because you picked Puka and CeeDee Lamb in this draft. You picked CeeDee Lamb after Puka Nacua,
That's right.
which I think is pretty controversial. A lot of people have him more on that tier with Jamar and Justin Jefferson. They're both wide receivers that are the perennial number 1 for their teams. I think we all agree with that. They both have a wide receiver 2.
A damn good one,
coming
too.
to them. A damn good one for both of them coming to them. I just think the quarterback situation in Dallas with Matthew Stafford, yes, when he plays, is phenomenal. He's already had very scary concerns in this preseason so far.
Sure.
Maybe not out there on the practice field as much as he should be. I mean, he's old, but if he's not there, the Rams are terrible.
I say so. Maybe not terrible. I think they got the best backup in the league. And
Stetson.
Jimmy Garoppolo.
Oh, that's Jimmy G.
And
there.
Jimmy Garoppolo has been. Did he go to a Super Bowl? I'm trying to remember. I mean, look, the guy can support a number 1 target, a tight end with that running game, that defense, and that offensive line. Like the Raiders are the Rams are a sneaky, like deep playoff run type.
Probably
team.
the only team
Matt
drafting
Stafford
better than the
is
Lions.
a monster.
Yeah.
That guy is an absolute beast. I'm almost 6'3" with a 9-inch hand. Matt Stafford, when I shook his hand, that dude like enveloped my hand. I was like, oh, no wonder why he can just make every single throw. And he just takes a hit. I have no worries. Puka almost it killed me last year when Sean McVay didn't play him the last game to give him 1,000 yards because it breaks a streak that he was starting with 1,000-yard seasons by 5 yards. Puka Nacua averaged the second most fantasy points per game last year from the wide receiver perspective. The dude is always open. And we've seen Matt do it before, support the number 1 wide receiver in fantasy football how many times? The number 1 wide receiver in fantasy football never repeats. And I know Theo made the bold call of Jamar doing it again this year and could totally see it. However, if there's somebody that could do it this year, it's Puka Nacua.
Okay. Well, hey, I got him on my dynasty team. I hope that you
Me
guys
too.
are right. Ashton Jeanty at 8. I probably would move him up here. Seeing a lot of people in the chat, they prefer CD, who you took at 9, versus taking Puka at 7. For me, listen, I love George Pickens, but he's a problem. He's a hell of a receiver, too, so you're going to have to get him out there and you're going to have to get him the ball. I see that going bad before I see it going great. Those two guys are both very emotional athletes, and if they could be best friends in week 4 and mortal enemies in week 15.
Some of the widest outcomes possible in this fantasy football season are the Dallas Cowboys.
Yeah.
You have Dak Prescott. You have an offensive line that, while you lose Martin, Smith, and some years, right? But they've done a nice job of maintaining that. You trade for Brees Hall, like they're talking about. Maybe, Jaden Blue can play some football, right? But you got Pickens. You got Schultz. Where was I get Schultz and
Dalton.
Ferguson?
Oh, yeah.
At tight end, right? And you got some guys on defense. I mean, obviously they could play some football this year. It's a tough division, but I mean, look, they're going to do during the fantasy football season. They're going to do some damage. What they do in the playoffs when Dak inevitably chokes, that doesn't matter for fantasy football. That being said, there were times last year and the year before, the last year especially, that CD just looked detached.
Yes, absolutely.
Like disinterested.
And that is my worry. You've got two guys, one guy that did it in Pittsburgh, one guy that did it in Dallas last year, and now they are together. Got a little poll up in the chat for you guys if you want to give us your answer, Puka or CD first. There's a guy at number 10 and 11 that went back-to-back, Malik Neighbors and Brian Thomas Jr., two rookies from last year that both either could finish at wide receiver 1. I think that they're tremendous value at 10 and 11.
Now, if Neighbors had played every game, what would their stats been next to each other? Because I know they were really close, and I was a big BT Dubs fan, and went just excited when he fell to me in Dynasty, and and it paid off obviously way bigger than where we thought it could. But these two, I think, are going to be forever linked. Same school, it's Jefferson Chase.
Yeah, and I said it last year at draft. I said, don't sleep on this kid being this year's Justin Jefferson. Not to say that I didn't think that the guy ahead of him, Malik Neighbors, wasn't going to be tremendous. I thought he was the best wide receiver in this draft.
Brian Thomas Jr. is the single greatest athlete playing wide receiver in the league right now.
Ooh,
go to playerprofiler.com and check out the stats.
Yeah, absolutely. Christian McCaffrey, number 12, might be a little bit early. I took him there. To me, the risk is kind of worth the reward. Obviously, he could get hurt, but this is a guy that could be the RB1 at the end of the year. We don't need to go too much further into him. Let's run through this second round here. I started things off taking Brock Bowers. I'm a little worried about the offensive scheme there, but I think that this guy is the absolute truth. Nico Collins, former Michigan Wolverine, number 14. I took him there. I kind of felt like I don't know where to take him. I don't know if I can let him slip any further.
A guy that perpetually misses a couple games, and maybe he puts it all together this season. A lot of super athletes like he is one. It takes him a couple years to kind of grow into that. But I mean, he's getting up there. Hopefully he can put it together. That team looks poised for a bounce back in a terrible division.
CJ Stroud especially looks poised for a bounce back.
I think so. Sophomore slump is over.
And I think he has a lot less target competition there. His target consumption there will be in the high 20% with Tank Dell and Stephon Diggs both not there this season.
That's right.
Yeah.
I think
they brought in a couple guys that some of our friends are pretty high on though.
Yeah, I don't know, man. Nico Collins is kind of a big question mark for me. To me, as much as I like him, the fact that he misses some games every year, I think I'd probably let someone else take him high. And if he's fallen to me in the mid to late second, I'd take him. I've seen him in the first round of drafts. I'm not taking him there. King Henry, Derrick Henry at number 15, Devon Achane, however you want to call him. 2 Chainz, number 16 there. Again, another guy that I'm not incredibly high on, but Jalen Wright got a little more work in the preseason than I would have liked to have seen him get. Raheem Mostert's gone.
Ollie Gordon.
Yeah, they brought Ollie Gordon
in. I do like
it's
Ollie, but it seems like it's all Devon Achane's job now. Is he going to get
how big is would somebody please just read off Devon Achane's size and weight for me?
Yes. Does anything change based on
5'8", 180? Okay, so Devon Achane has a 25% BMI, body mass index, which puts him in the lowest of all football players that are not playing like corners or wide receivers.
That's wild.
He's
an anomaly.
He's an absolute anomaly. And what scares me is soft tissue calf injury to start to see. That's a scary one. That is indicative, and I'm not a doctor. I just play one on television. It is indicative of Achilles calf tears. He's been shut down. And this is coming from somebody that is a bit of a Jalen Wright truther. So, selfishly, I don't want any player to get hurt. Don't make it sound like that. Sure. The bottom line is like I don't think Miami is better for focusing him. Like when you are throwing the ball near the line of scrimmage and not putting it in the hands of Jalen Waddle and Tyreek Hill, how did that work out for them last year? Devon Achane got how many catches last year, and how was Miami's offense? They were awful. Everything was in front of those cornerbacks, those safeties, and behind the linebackers. That is not a Mike McDaniel's offense. I think that they're going to understand it. Getting Wright some carries, bringing in a large running back in Ollie Gordon.
I like Ollie.
Right. This is a guy that you have to be able to tire out the defense. And
So it's the same scenario that we've seen for like the last 4 years. There's a 3-man running back attack.
If
in
you
Miami.
want Devon Achane to make it through the season, you need to invest in some early down work for one of your big guys.
But you're not drafting him, it sounds like. Because I know I'm
not at that price.
I'm not either. Moving on, Drake London, you heard about it. The pair up with Michael Penix really seems legit at this point between those two. Tell us more.
Yeah, so coming out of college, I'm not big on the black box prospect, being somebody that doesn't test. Okay, stats aside, absolutely fantastic. But in college, you can bully people. And we talked a little bit about it with Ted, right? And, in the Pac-10 at the time, like Drake was absolutely dominant, right? But he's come along. Every year, he's made progressions.
Yeah.
And Michael Penix is the truth.
And he loves him. He focuses in on him. Might
He
even
does.
make Kyle Pitts kind of good this year.
Yeah, well, we'll see about that.
Don't hold your breath, right? Don't hold your breath. All right, moving on. I took Chase Brown at 18. This is a guy that you're getting in your third round. I'm going to tell you right now, if he's there in your third round, you better fucking take him. I like him to be better than Devon Achane this year. A-Chan, 2 Chains, whatever. When you look
Could
at
Taj Boyd Chase Brown?
2 years ago, Chase Brown had the third highest mile per hour reached in an NFL play behind
He's
Tyreek
a
and
long
DK.
strider, yeah.
Now, no Zach Moss. What is it, Taj Boyd or something
Yeah.
that's running behind him.
Incredibly productive, big and strong, and fast.
And I like him, as somebody that can mix it up. But I think that Chase Brown is going to be kind of
He's
a
poised.
focal point
He's
in a pissed off, revenge based year for the Bengals, where they are doing everything they can to get back to the playoffs.
Opportunity is king, and he has a hell of an opportunity. He's not the most productive when it comes to getting yards against stack boxes, which he's going to have to do in obvious downs. Like, he should get all the support, but I mean, so much shotgun formations, they can see him coming. So I don't know. His yards per carry isn't the best, but it's the opportunity with this guy. He's good in the red zone. He's very good out of the backfield. He's got the right size. He's not big. What is he, 210?
Yeah.
But he's got it right now, and he's got the job. And so at this value right now at 18, I mean, he could be a first rounder next year.
And honestly, guys, you're going to find him in your third rounds. So if he's still there, you make sure you take him. You got a tough choice in the second, but you heard it from us. We love him in those top 18 picks. I'll take him before Jonathan Taylor, who you took at 19.
Jonathan Taylor won me another championship last year.
How?
I mean, the hottest running back
Yeah.
through the fantasy playoffs last season.
He really was.
Flat out. I mean, it wasn't him. It was a team effort.
So
But,
I messed everybody up here with the next pick after Jonathan Taylor. Actually, no. You want to talk about DJ Giddens? Because we should probably mention him if we're talking about Jonathan Taylor.
DJ Giddens is one of my deep targets. And even though I have, and damn it, I am exposing my draft strategy.
I knew it right when I
was
said that.
able I was able to get him in Dynasty without talking about him too much. I mean, look, the guy's the
Same.
right size, absolute strider. Absolute stud producer. The team seems to love him, and I know that it's in their best interest to use him. Not great draft capital. I hope he's not Izzy Abanikanda,
Yeah.
but they kind of remind me like running style of, but he seems a lot more shifty, and he's definitely better out of the backfield. So we'll see. I mean, maybe he's the DJ Giddens' next Chase Brown, and it's Jonathan Taylor that ends up as a Dallas Cowboy.
So we got to. Woodward Sports is asking Chase Brown or Bucky Irving. We do have Bucky Irving later on in this draft. I'm not sold on Bucky. We'll see about that. But Bucky and Chase Brown are very similar profiles, very similar roles on their team. I don't think that you can go too wrong with either one because they're on tremendous offenses, teams that are going to be in it throughout the whole season, and they're going to be moving the ball. Those guys are going to be near the end zone and plenty part of their offenses. Number 20, though, I go to Jaden Daniels. And, back in the day, we saw quarterbacks go early, sometimes in the first round. We don't even often see them in the second round. I think that the Terry McLaurin situation will fix itself. And they added a guy named Debo over there that I think truly gives Jaden Daniels some absolute weapons. He's got a little bit more in the running game, like Theo mentioned. And I just have a hard time staying away from a guy that can absolutely win you a league.
Yeah, absolutely, and did win leagues last year. And here's the thing. It's year 2. He's going to be better. However, there's a lot of tape on him now where there wasn't before. And there is some reason to believe that teams will get smarter against the Commanders. But we'll see. I mean, it's a hell of a talent.
It was interesting when Theo said that this is a team that could miss the playoffs outright. I mean,
I
did.
think the same thing. That's
a Hail Mary away.
They kicked the shit out of the Detroit Lions, and that was, I believe, my first swear. So, honey, I owe you some money when I get home.
Hey, I'm surprised. I figured we'd be at 4 or 5 by now. Josh Jacobs, you took a 21. I love that pick. This is a workhorse. I think this is his last year where you draft him high, but I have no problem with that one. A.J. Brown, 22. This is a guy that kind of been in the second round for a bunch of years now. I think you feel like you can get some guaranteed production. Bucky Irving, as we just mentioned, at 23, and then rounding it out with a guy who absolutely won leagues last year.
Sure did.
Lamb Jack.
Yeah, I mean, what's not to love?
Lamar Jackson, man. I do love that guy.
There are somebody that I was talking to, you know who your name is, and your initials are RK, had a deep prediction that we could get a bit of a Baltimore fall off this year, especially if things were not going to break right in the injury side. It's a hell of a football team, and obviously the coaching, and it's a hell of an organization. That being said, that would tremendously drop Lamar Jackson's performance this year.
Well, let's take a look at what our experts over at fantasypoints.com, what their top 24 list looks like, how different it is from ours. We'll run through that pretty quickly, and then we'll get to the end of the show. We got some fun stuff for you at the end, and of course, we do want to get you involved in the Fantasy Jerks Woodward Fantasy League. If you want to get in on that, just email me, Anson, ANSON, at Woodward Sports. Just let me know that you're serious and you want to play. We're going to be taking 6 guys from, 4 from in the studio right now, 2 more from the network, and then 6 of you guys. It would be an awesome, awesome prize package. Please smash that like button. Everybody that's watching right now, we appreciate you guys. Smash that like button. Let's get us up there. I want to take a look at that fantasypoints.com breakdown here. And so Jamar Chase, Justin Jefferson, CeeDee Lamb, these guys basically went wide receiver 1, 2, 3. Now, we heard Theo. He likes Jamar Chase 1. He likes Bijan 2. And then he likes Jahmyr Gibbs 3. So I guess the big surprise for me right here is seeing Ashton, Jeanty ahead of both of those running backs. They have them as their RB1. And as you already saw, these guys know what they're doing. How do you feel about that?
Would you be surprised if it happened?
If he's the RB1, it would be an Adrian Peterson type of rookie year, right?
Exactly. It happened, a Barry Sanders type of rookie year, right? And we alluded to this earlier. The opportunity, the offensive line, the support, the quarterback, the coach, the commitment to wanting to run, the commitment to use such capital on a player, and unparalleled, haven't seen in a very, very long time college performance. I wouldn't be surprised at all. A lot of the guys on the top of these that we were projecting to be the top, if these teams are going to be playoff teams, which they all look like they very well could be, have a vested interest in resting their running backs at some point to attempt to make a deep playoff run. So wow. I wouldn't be surprised at all.
Shout out Dash Riot. Absolutely one of the greatest DJs in Detroit over the last decade, and a hell of a fantasy player as well. He says Jenny above Bijan and Gibbs is wild, but it's in the range of outcomes. Now, you look at Adrian Peterson, people slept on him. He went in the second round, number 1 RB. Then you see a guy Bijan 2 years ago that's going number 1 in drafts and let you down. I think the difference in Vegas, though, is there is no one else to challenge him for the rock in the backfield. And
Sincere McCormick, Dylan
Laube, I might have drafted him last year.
Great hair.
Great hair. Shout out to Dash Ride for joining us in here. Shout out to everybody in the chat. Please smash that like button. Again, if you want to get in on that league, let me know at Anson at woodwardsports.com. And then if you guys want to get your super chats in, number 1 super chatter for today's show so far at, I believe, $15 is our guy Dante151. So he's going to get himself a free membership to fantasypoints.com unless somebody wants to come out
for
and
$15.
And what is it, $150 membership for the year or something
thing
crazy?
With the data analytics,
yeah,
and worth every penny.
So get in there. get yourself a chance to get that thing. What we do want to head on over to is a fun little segment that my man over here to my left is going to handle, and we call it Dad Mode. What do you got for us, Kaz?
Yeah, so creating championship teams, it takes philosophy. Dad Mode is a philosophy of excellence, effectiveness, and comfort. Comfort like a fresh pair of cotton socks, inside some white New Balance trainers. This segment of Dad Mode is brought to you by Manchego's Cheese Castle. So for all your cheese needs, besides cheddar, go to Manchego's Cheese Castle.
Not to mention Ben Johnson Law.
That's right. Crafting a championship roster takes savvy. Swinging for the fences in every round can bite you. But when sometimes a good blooper over the shortstop can bring it home, right? Anson, this is a baseball analogy for football. I'm not talking about value traps. I'm talking about a starting RB1 that you can get cheap to accompany early round receivers and a tight end. James Conner is my Dad Mode pick number 1. I know you may have a differing opinion, but Connor's just about as old as Linda Hamilton playing Sarah Connor in The Last Terminator. However, he still has it.
No fate but what we make.
There are things you can count on, like Manchego's Cheese, Steely Dan, Old Spice,
and Ben
James
Johnson
Conner.
Law.
Yeah, that's right.
No doubt about it.
You know which running back forced the most missed tackles last year, Anson? You're right. You guessed it. It was James Conner.
Wow.
James Conner. He tied with King Henry for 68 forced missed tackles. He had 8 more than Bijan. Running back 11 in total points last year, coming off a career high 47 catches in PPR, 15, almost 16 points per game. Of course, these stats and so much more are available in Cut to Camera 2. That didn't work.
Next week.
Go to,
we got you
I got
next
all these
week.
stats from fantasypoints.com. Don't accidentally type fantasypants.com. It's not what you think it is. It's not about sports, nor Wranglers, nor Levi's for that matter. James Conner is an RB1 to start your season, carry you till your breakout happens, even a championship. His ADP is 50, round 5, even 6 after you had hammered once again. Tight ends, wide receivers early. So put on some new Fruit of the Looms, crack open a Pabst. You deserve it. Here's to James Conner.
I love hammering those tight ends, that's for sure. Dad Mode will return each and every week. We taught him pause today. But yeah, great Dad Mode breakdown. We'll get another Dad Mode for you next week. You know I'm a Trey Benson guy, but I happen to be dating a girl who went to Pitt while Mr. Conner was running over people over there in the ACC. Came out of school, had to beat cancer, and continues to beat linebackers. So
and beats ADP.
No doubt about it. Well, that's it for Dad Mode, and that's just about it for us here today. We got some fun, though. We're going to end every single show the same way. But first, I want to remind you, email your name to Anson@woodwardsports.com if you want to join the Fantasy Jerks League. I'll be filling you in on the prize package. We got a lot of sponsors. I got a lot of cards, a lot of memorabilia. We are going to put something together special. There is no charge to get in. All you got to do is email me, and we will pick 3 of you at the start of next week's Fantasy Jerks. What we're going to do this week and next week and the week after that is we are going to show you some of the most wild punishments in fantasy sports for the biggest loser. And, well, we call this the final sentence, fantasy football punishments. Get that graphic for me? Because I really like the way it looks, Ryan.
I honestly, that
Shout
might
out
be
to the graphics team, by the way.
That might be the one that I don't, out of all of them, that might be the one.
It's in there somewhere. There's a really great electric chair in it, too. So,
all right, here it is. Just give me, I just downloaded it. Just give me a second. You guys can talk about whatever you want.
Shout out to Ryan over there.
It's the first show, everybody.
Yeah,
we got it going. We're doing great. Ryan, thanks for everything. This is fantastic. And shout out to the graphics team. Shout out to Brendan. Shout out to Anson. Shout out to the support here.
No doubt. Shout out to Lady Jane's. It is absolutely wicked awesome. You can walk in anytime, 7 days a week, 10 to 8, and they will get you looking good and ready for the weekend. You know what? Don't worry about it. We'll bring that graphic. You got it?
Hold on.
We're pretty proud of this one, but what we are going to do is we're going to take you through 3 quick videos and show you what people are doing to punish people. There it is. The final sentence, fantasy football punishments. Let's roll the tape here. First clip. So we're going to start it off light. This one's kind of a soft. It's kind of easy. It's tomatoes and eggs, man.
Pause.
Soft and easy. Tomatoes and eggs.
I believe it's this one.
We'll figure it out. There's the eggs.
Oh, you moved again.
So, yeah, they really get closer and closer and angrier. And that one smashed off the head. And would you line up for this?
I might do that one.
Yeah, you might do that one. Let's see a couple more of these. They're kind of ridiculous, man. I feel like when we were doing this back in the day when we were living together, we would have dialed up some wild punishments. One of the things I do encourage you guys to do as this season goes on, if you have any videos of any wild punishments in your league, please send those to me, Anson at woodwardsports.com. We'll play those as the year goes on. Got another one?
Yeah, which one do you want?
Drop them. We got two more. Drop either one. It's okay. So these guys get wild at it, but they're a little bit further away. So this guy has a chance, and he's dodging pretty damn well. But they got a lot of tomatoes, and if you watch,
I was gonna say those better not be eggs and things.
no, they're boiled tomatoes. So like you hear it, it's like, oh, they're hot, and they smash real nice. But that's a little far away. Let's hit them with the last one. The last one's actually the best one. Dante 151. Nope. And Dante 151, listen, we're going to get you. Yeah, look at this one right up. He's got a couple more coming in the head. This is the kid. He's like, oh, they're hot. They show him boiling them. Oh!
Go low, guys, please.
So, if you want in the Dynasty League, guys, just know that we will be coming up with some sort of a punishment. Which we
need to make the submitter send a waiver.
No, we'll be letting you know in week 3, September 3rd. There you go. September 3rd, we'll be letting you know exactly what the punishment is. It's nothing crazy. You won't be risking yourself or life or limb at all. So again, Dante 151, appreciate you emailing me. We're going to hook you up with that Fantasy Points membership, the very first one that we've given out. We're going to be giving out one every single episode. Massive shout out to the to Fantasy Points. Oh, Billy Pet's in here. Shout out Billy Pet's Inspiration Clothing. This guy has won best clothing line in Detroit multiple years. And he's a legend, one of my good buddies there. Shout out to you, Billy Petts. Appreciate you in here. Appreciate the super chat. Listen, guys, we want you in this league. I need a bunch of emails from all of you that are serious about it, and we will get you into that league. We're going to pick 3 of you next Wednesday. But you having fun in there, Ryan?
Yeah, I'm having lots of fun. It's been a good show. And I think, there's a lot of moving pieces in a short amount of time, but we got it to work. Easy helped us a lot as well.
Shout out Easy.
Behind the camera, Easy did a great job of helping me out and everyone else. But no, it's a great show, great idea. I'm not super in tune to like fantasy football podcasts or anything.
Now,
there's still time. You're a young man.
But you got a question. Hit us with the question before we leave.
Okay, so my question is, in my league, we have a keepers league, and you get to keep 2 players. And I have kind of like a group of players that I would like to keep. And if you keep this player, you lose that round pick. So one of my players is Jamar Chase, who I will be drafting 8th this year in the first round. So Chase, if I took him, I would lose my first rounder. I would lose the 8th pick.
Yeah.
So I have Chase, Derrick Henry, who's a second rounder, and then Drake London, who is a 3rd or 4th rounder. I don't quite remember. And then Brock Bowers, who was my 6th rounder. Ooh. And then Mike Evans.
Keepers.
Mike Evans was a trade, so I don't technically know what pick I would lose.
I think we can stop you right now. If you get Jamar Chase at 8, you got to take him, right?
Yeah, but here's the thing. Value. Right.
Well,
okay.
who's he going to get
go.
at 8?
Yeah,
Who's
but
better
Drake
than Jamar?
London at 3
in the 3rd round.
Like it's like having another third round. It's like having another first round pick. So I honestly here, you kind of can't go wrong with Chase or London, but to pair together, if you take Brock Bowers in the 6th,
a nice glass
Drake
of
London
Bowers
in the 3rd, and what you have is 3 first-round picks on your team. So I think that's what I would do.
Here,
That's interesting.
I'm trying to find out where I took Drake London.
Shout out to everybody in the chat for you guys joining us. We will be back every single Wednesday night, 7:30 to 9. If we get another one of the experts in and we get to keep them for a half hour, yeah, we're going to be going long. Once again, an absolutely huge shout out to Theo Greminger dropping all kinds of knowledge on us. And a huge shout out to our sponsor, fantasypoints.com. This Fantasy Jerks will be powered by them all year long. And if you want to get 10% off of that membership over there, honestly, the greatest fantasy analytics site that I have ever experienced in my life, just drop Woodward in as your discount code and you'll get that 10% off. But to wrap things up here, I got to be honest with you. Jamar Chase is the league winner. I'm taking him at number 1. But at number 8, you get him in the first round, and then Bach Bowers, 6th round. That's as simple as smashing that like button, chat.
right.
So please smash that like button. But listen, we're going to get out of here. We appreciate you guys so much. If you want to get in the league, email me, Anson@woodwardsports.com. Let me know you're serious. We'll be back here next Wednesday. We'll be pulling 3 names, getting you guys into the Fantasy Jerks Fantasy League with a bunch of us here.
We're talking Commissioner's Conundrums next week.
We are. We got Commissioner's Conundrums. We got a bunch of cool stuff dialed up for you guys next week. Shout out to Brennan in the sound booth. Ryan, you made us look awesome today. We will tighten up for you guys next week. We threw this one together, but we got a lot more to come. My name is Anson Wells. Big love for his first ever show, Brandon Kaz. And we are out. We will see you next week.
Namaste.
The bats are hot, and the weather is getting hotter. Summertime in the D with Detroit's big hitters, Woodward Sports.